Good morning, everyone. And today we are going to talk about a very, very interesting and very relevant topic. And it's about career in defense sector, in corporate sector, in the business development domain. And with us, we have today a very senior person in the industry who's very well known in the industry, especially in the defense business domain sector. And without wasting much time, I will just invite Colonel Mahesh Ramachandran, sir, to the show. Sir, are you there?
Yes, Manish. Can you hear me? You can see me as
Yes,
well.
sir. Yes, sir. We can hear you loud and clear, as always. First of all, welcome to the show. And Palime, sir, let me introduce you. So, ladies and gentlemen, we have Colonel Mahesh Ramachandran with us. And Mahesh, sir, is an alumnus of IIT Madras, from where he did his MTech in communication system. He's also an MBA in finance. He served for 26 years in Army, and he was my commanding officer. So I forgot to mention that. And after taking premature release, he has been in the corporate sector for over 16 years now, and he was the business head at Tata Power SCD for C4I and electronic warfare for 12 years, besides also being the founder, board member of LTH Milcom Private Limited, a special purpose company of L&T, Tata, and HCLI. He was with L&T Defense and Smart World as head of business development, Milcom, for 4 years, and he is currently an advisor for at L&T. He has been involved in big ticket communication and EW programs and has been a part of Defense Committee of FICCI and CII. He is a fellow of Institute of Electronics and Telecommunication Engineers, and he was awarded the best contributor from private sector in electronic warfare in 2015 by Association of Old Crows. He is a keen strategic affairs observer with special interest in defense procurements and has many publications to his name. And besides this, all this, he is a fitness freak. He is an avid tracker, swimmer, and half marathoner. So actually, there are so much more to say, but I will not take much time so that we have time for discussing the topic proper. But ये सुन के ही सर मैं इतनी सारी जो अचीवमेंट्स हैं आपकी वो सुन के वी ऑल आर बेसिकली स्केयर्ड है थोड़ा सा इंटिमिडेट हो गए हैं so it is as you said that you're so sir welcome to the show and before we start would you like to say anything?
Yeah. Firstly, Manish, thanks for all those very kind words. Yeah. And at the outset, let me wish you and all those who have joined on this Sunday morning a very good morning to all of you. And you can ask me whatever questions you want. I have been, of course, in the corporate sector for quite some time now. I have been in the defense sector only. And whatever queries you have, kindly ask. I'm assuming that the most of the people who have joined are either already in corporate or in the army or um, at the threshold where they are probably going to leave the army. So whatever the target audience, you can ask me any queries that you have. So please go ahead. I think we without wasting any more time, I think let's go ahead.
Right. So I will first prize you, sir, that most of our audience today is from the Armed Forces fraternity, sir, and majority from the Short Service Commission. Some of them are those who have taken premature retirement, and very few of them are the ones who have superannuated after the full service after serving their full tenure in army. So that is the composition of our audience, and we'll pitch our talk according to this only, sir, keeping this in mind. So, sir, first of all, sir, since you have been in the defense industry and that too at very senior positions, and you have been involved with many projects, what are the current and projected trends in the defense industry, and how do they influence business development opportunities for veterans?
Right. So as all of you know, we are the world's fifth largest economy, and we are a growing economy. And defense is a fair chunk of this economy. Number of opportunities in defense is huge. Now, if I were to give you some examples of land systems, marine systems, and air systems, then in land systems alone, the FRCV, when I say FRCV, and these are all the FICV, the FRCVs. You have drones, mounted oblique towed artillery guns, VSHORAT for those or the air defense areas. There was a program for the infantry called the FNSAS, that is the Future Infantry Soldier as a System, which unfortunately I won't say has died a natural death, but it is still somewhere, but it is hibernating for far too long. Right. Then, of course, from the signal side, you have software-defined radios, and the army is now rolling out or proposes to roll out its own 5G network. You have UNMS, and that is the Unified Network Management System for Tri-Services, which is actually anchored by the armed forces, which is part of the network for Spectrum, and of course in electronic warfare and signal intelligence. There are a whole lot of projects from ECM, ESM, and ECCM. As far as air systems are concerned, I think you all know Tejas itself. I mean, although Tejas is made by HAL, private industry has got a huge stake in this. For those who can actually pitch in and and exploit that opportunity. Engine development of helicopters and aircraft, high power radar, medium power radar. There's something called the CIWS, that is close-in weapon system. It's a 8,000 crore program. It's a huge program. And of course, for all these aircraft that are being made by HAL and the helicopters, the entire payload of these, whether it's the EW suite, the communication suite, everything is up as a business opportunity. Marine systems, I think you all know about P-75I, the famous indigenous submarine program, for which there were two vendors who have been shortlisted, and the process is on. And the tendering process is currently on. They've responded to a tender. Similarly, submarine development, again a huge opportunity. Then there is something called the Naval Maritime Recce helicopters. Again, there are about 60 odd helicopters which are on order, which again would be a global buy. So, I mean, the long and short of it, Manish, is that in terms of business, the opportunities are huge. And the sad part, of course, is that despite all this, despite the push for Atmanirbharta, it'll take time. It'll definitely, it's happening, but it's taking time. The fact is that we are still the biggest exporter of arms, and that situation needs to change. So there is huge opportunity, and these are some of the programs that I have listed.
So that's a huge opportunity, sir. Actually, why I asked this question, sir, because when I made the switch to corporate sector, and I missed this bus of defense domain, because it was basically because fixed mindset that I would not go back to army and all these, etc., for whatever reasons. But without realizing that our core competence lies there, sir, actually, in the sense that we know the environment, we know the products which are to be sold, we have easy access to this, and that is where we can actually leverage all our strengths and our relationships, which I realized it much later that this was one domain I missed. So, and I know that many of the people who are trying to make a switch to the corporate sector also think the same. So that is why we invited you today. And I didn't want people to make the same mistake which I made. So, and with the kind of investments and opportunities which are there in the defense domain, now I think is the time that people should look at this particular area very seriously. Can you also highlight specific areas where defense business development, in the defense business development sector domain, where veteran skills and experience are particularly valued? I mean, while all these projects which you listed are there, but how can we leverage our skills which are there?
Yeah. So firstly, let me tell you, you're not the only one with this mindset that, why should we get into defense? We would rather go into other sectors like telecom and, hospital administration and civil aviation and things like that. But, and by the way, I too had initially this, if I say, a little bit of a block. And the first job that I got, and I almost joined, was as the CTO of Hutch. And earlier Vodafone was known as Hutch, you all know. And I was to operate from Guwahati, which was, I mean, for me, a little bit of a challenge because, of the family issues, and my daughter was studying here in Delhi. So this mindset is there. And fortunately, at that point of time, Tata's came up with this offer, on this, and I could be in Delhi. And And after that, of course, things were good. So I think, yes, it is a mindset, but it is a misplaced mindset. Getting into a defense industry with the kind of knowledge and domain expertise you have is probably the best thing you can. Now, to the specific question that you asked, you said, what are the challenges? Manish, can you just repeat that question again?
I said, sir, what are those specific areas within the defense business development where our skills, veteran skills, and experience are particularly valued?
Firstly, you must know that what are the areas where all can you be employed outside in defense. Business development is one area. So there is a chief business development officer. You could be under him, sales, PD, etc. There is also a CTO's organization, so you can be a technical manager. You can provide technical solutions, and you can do this kind of a back end work. Sales and BD, of course, is a front end work where you meet the customer and you interact with them. Even in the technical roles, you do meet the customer because the technical presentations have to be given by you. Customers are all your friends. I mean, Army, Navy, Air Force. When I say friends, it's familiar. So, it's easy. So that is one very easy step that you can take. Then, of course, what we are all good at is project management. All of us have done project management or are currently doing project management, in some form or the other, except that there is a difference in project management between corporate and what we normally do in the armed forces. I'll come to that later. Then you have HR. You can get into quality, and you can just take care of all the DGQA and EMI EMC related issues, because that is a huge chunk of any tender. You could get into supply chain, you could get into finance, you could get into cyber security. You can become the chief info security officer of the organization. For those from the JAG branch, can join a legal department very easily. We have I think at least 2 or 3 retired Navy and Army officers in our JAG branch in my L&T defense alone. And those from the EME could take on the AMC and warranty, and also help with the another large chunk of all tenders is the MRLS, SMTs, STs, and it's a huge thing. So then there is training. So I mean, across all arms and services, there is huge opportunity in the corporate sector. So that is the first point that I'm making. So it's not only business development alone. It's not business development alone. You have a number of opportunities where you can pitch yourself, and you have to decide what you are good in. Now, some people are very good in, commerce, accounts, and all that. They could join the CFO's organization. And likewise, those who are good, good communication skills. Most of us do have good communication skills. Would of course be ideally suited for sales and BD. Those who are pure techies who do coding and who are deep into bits and bytes of technology, the CTO would welcome you with open arms. So there are huge. The opportunities are huge. I just wanted to tell you, I didn't give you a sense of the numbers of the business opportunity. Today, you are at 2% of your GDP is defense budget. Okay, now imagine when you become a $5 trillion economy, which is the professed aim of the government, and you will get there at some point of time. Just put 2% of that, in terms of dollars, you will get the kind of business opportunity.
Right. Absolutely. That's actually mind-boggling. And very rightly brought out. Thank you so much for so much of clarity that it's not only business development in the defense domain in the corporate, but there is place for everyone, and the opportunities are immense. But if I talk only about business development in defense, so it is sometimes not everyone has got the knack for it. Going back to the same organization, and which was the mindset I had, going back to the same organization, and then waiting as a vendor, and then meeting them, and then making a sales pitch or whatever this thing. What are the challenges which veterans face while pursuing this business development role in defense domain specifically, and how do we overcome these challenges?
So the first challenge we already discussed is the challenge of mindset. You need to get over that mindset, why I'm going back there. Now the point is, in what capacity are you going back to your organization? You are going back to them from a position of strength. Okay, don't do anything unethical. Don't expect anything, any favor, in fact, they need you. Let me tell you, they need you more than you need them. Many times, I can give you an example. In 2000, I left in around 2007. In 2006, we had an ADG. Those on signals would know General Murthy. He was the ADG taxi. A hell of a fiery guy. Those who know the paratrooper. He called, and that time TCS, Tactical
Sure.
Communication System, RFI was out, and all the foreign vendors were there, the Raytheon, the General Dynamics, the Thales, you name it, they were all there in that room, okay, and all their, heads, senior guys. So, and they had come to discuss the TCS RFI. So, Jalmurthy was sharing this, and he just said, okay, just tell me who among you is a domain expertise on TCS. Have got anybody in your team? So everybody gave a blank face, nobody. And then he let them have it. He had courtesy was okay, but he actually let them. He said, "This is the problem. You guys come to me for such a big meeting and then ask me questions like what is a battalion, what is a corps, what is a division, and I'm not here to answer those questions. So you guys get your act together. So there is opportunity for you with your domain data. I'm telling you, this is a example that actually happened, and honestly, maybe a lot of us got jobs because of that. But so that is one thing. So mindset. So change the mindset. You can do it. The second block is probably there is a cool off period for colonels and above. So if you're an SS officer, if you're not a colonel, I mean, if you're not a select grade colonel, then you don't have a problem. You can actually join, unless it's a foreign company for which you need permission if you're joining it in the first 2 years. Otherwise, there's a 1 year cool off period. That's no problem at all. The procedure is very simple. Simple. You can apply, and unless you have had, dealings with that company in terms of you conducted a trial for them or you're board of negotiation, price negotiation board or something like that, there is no problem at all. Okay. Otherwise, you can still wait out that 1 year of cool off and join a company. Not an issue at all. You stay relevant, keep reading about it. You won't have a problem there. So that is the second challenge, cool off period. But if as you said, if a lot of people are not current about at that stage, then it's really not a problem. The other challenge, of course, is in skilling. We are all skilled, okay. But the military skills are quite different from corporate skills. So the challenge that you're going to face is one of unlearning, okay, and then learning new skills. Learning new skills is okay. The unlearning part is a little difficult. It's generally not the thing in especially in in PD. You need certain soft skills. You can't throw your rank, throw your ego or something like that when you're dealing with a customer. Okay, so a little bit of humility has to be there. The next, of course, challenge is you're used to that fuzzy culture of instant obedience. Okay, well, you may not get that in the corporate. It'll come. It'll come with time. It'll come with a little bit of seniority that you'll get later. But that is something which you have to get used to. It's not instant. There is a hierarchy in the corporate as well, but there is some adjustment that you will actually need to do. The next thing is you are used to having buddies, help at home. You have a driver, or maybe an army vehicle, etc. Everything, all those you will have to. I mean, especially initially for those who join the corporate sector, initially those are things that you will have to do on your own. Okay, so you will have to dirty your hand and do them because when you ask for a secretary, there is a cost to the company, all that. Again, I said those will come if you stay the course. All that will follow. The next thing, of course, is get used to working from workstations, where or even as company commander, I say nowadays I've got 20 plus offices, air conditioned offices. I mean, air conditioned of course is there, but you have all the facilities. You ring a bell and somebody gets you a tea. Here you'll have to get up, go to that that dispenser and get your coffee. So all that is there. These are small things, but the small things sometimes are also the big things. So if you can get over these challenges, and I see no reason why most of us cannot, then there shouldn't be a problem. There are some more, in terms of PD. Like I'll say it again, whenever you go to meet the customer, go to meet him with from a position of strength, and don't do anything unethical. Respect his integrity, respect his position. He may be a postmate, he may have been a good friend of yours, etc., whatever it is. But keep that distance and keep it completely professional. There is absolutely no problem you
Very
face.
well, sir. I'm sure that a lot of people would have taken note of this, and it will definitely help in changing their mindset. People, we most of us need to actually work on our mindsets. Maybe, sir. Are there any? I mean, you have been part of so many successful defense projects, and you must have seen that in some of them, the veteran skills would have really mattered a lot, helped a lot, and in some areas we may have been found wanting. So, what are those critical factors that contributed to the success of those projects? Can you give some example of any one or two?
Yeah. Okay. Look, as far as projects are concerned, firstly, let me tell you about the defense business itself. Okay, the defense
Yes, sir,
business
that would be
is
nice.
the defense business has got certain peculiarities. Okay, the first thing is that it is a monopsony. Maybe many of you don't know what is a monopsony. Monopsony. Look, a monopoly is when there is only one seller. A monopsony is there is only one buyer, and that is the government of India, the Ministry of Defense. Okay, to that extent, that government is the market, and that government is also the market maker, right? So you can't sell your products to anybody else, and even if you do, it needs the permission and the approval of the Ministry of Defense. So that is one major characteristic of the defense. Secondly, it is steeped in bureaucracy. Like I don't know about other cases, but defense business is steeped in bureaucracy, and the number of agencies are huge. I mean, there is a user, there is DGQA, there is EME, there is EMIMC, there is defense finance, and then there's a whole lot of the procurement chain from which the file has to go through. And because of this, there are inherent delays. Between the time that the DAC, the Defense Acquisition Council, gives an approval, acceptance of necessity, AON approval, it can, if if the file moves and clears every table first time, then between the AON to the placing of order, it'll take 18 months. Okay, I'm talking about the big projects or even medium projects, any project for that matter. 18 months. Just imagine if everybody just says yes, approved, approved, approved. No, it doesn't send the file back. It just goes up. Okay, 18 months. So just imagine how much time it takes. So you have to be ready. You're here for the long haul. These are long turnaround time between the time that you start, and respond to a tender and get the order. There is long time. So those companies, especially the IT companies who are used to quarter on quarter or month on month revenues, etc., can forget about it. Yes, year on year and subsequently is something that is workable. So that is the other thing. The third thing, of course, is unfortunately, when I say bureaucracy, and I'm with all responsibility, I'm saying this, that includes bureaucrats in uniform. Okay, and you will find a lot of them who are actually just pushing the files. You will see them, but then maybe there may be some constraint or whatever it is. But by and large, I would say 90%, 95%, the guys who are really keen to get that project, get it on ground for their soldiers, other people in uniform again. So I may be sounding self-contradictory, but there is bureaucracy in uniform as well. However, however low it may be in terms of number of people. So, but you have to live with it. I mean, this is something that this is the system. You can fight a system only up to a point, right? The next thing about defense is that you know, the government promises a level playing field for private and public sector, right? However, However, there are a number of programs which go on a single vendor basis to PSUs, DPSUs, Bharat Electronics, HAL, Cochin Shipyard, Mazagon Dock, your PDL, you name it, BEML. So there are these, so they get them. There may be merit in what the government does because at the end of the day, they are government organizations. They give the government dividends every year. But this is something, especially if you join a private sector, you should be ready for it. And The industry bodies, CII, FICCI, etc. From time to time, they move these the policy makers in the corridors of power and say that there should be a level playing field. Of late, we have seen a definite improvement. Today, for example, if I may tell you, the order book of Bharat Electronics Limited is close to 60,000 crores. 60,000 crores is the order book now. How many? Just imagine how many years they have business. Unfortunately, even L&Ts and Tatas don't have that kind of business, that kind of order booking in their in the defense business. So that is the problem. And the process is long. It's a standard process where you get an RFI, then you get an RFP, then there are trials which are conducted, then there is a commercial negotiation, an order is placed, and then you deliver the program. And it goes on till you collect that last check, right? And then it goes into the warranty and AMC phase. So this is peculiarity of the defense business. Now, I'll just give you two examples you asked. So I'll give you my personal example. There's a program called the IEWS Mountain, Integrated Electronic Warfare System for Mountain. This is for 2 cores along the Chinese border. And the RFP was the first RFP was issued for this in 2007. I don't remember the month. I guess it was September 2007. Now imagine the trials happened in 2010. What they call NCMC trial, the no cost, no commitment trial. Okay? And the order was placed in 2013. It was placed on 13th March 2013. I remember the date because it's a big contract, 200 pages, and my initials are there on all the pages. Okay, I followed it from that time. You can imagine what happens to electronic component and the obsolescence between the time that an order is placed in 2007 and the RFP is placed in 2007, and it takes 6 to 7 years for the order to be placed, right? Not only that, you submitted your commercials in 2007 because the technical and commercial are submitted together, and those have to be valid till 2013. Look at how the dollar has gone up between 2007 and 2013. So if you had an import content of 60%, okay, look at how much hit that you would be taking. But at the end of the day, it was a big ticket program. It was a 927 crore program. And it was good. We had good foreign partners from Israel. And after that, because of all this obsolescence, then a whole new series of negotiations started with new users are new, right? The guy is there for 2 years, 3 years, and somebody else comes and he looks at it from his own perspective. Finally, now I think out of the 10 blocks between two systems, they have given 6 or 7 blocks. I left Tata in December 2018, but so that's how slow it is, how slow it can be. So that was one program. The other program, those of signals would know, Tactical Communication Systems, TCS. TCS was called TCS 2001 at one time because it was supposed to come in by 2000. And I was there in PMO Plan until 1995 as a major in those days. That was my first tenure in PMO Plan. And we were gung-ho, and we said the best technique is going to be ATM. The trials were conducted on the ATM technology and everything. And then 2000 came and 2000 went. And then by 2004, 2005, they said, no, ATM is not taken off. It has to be IP. So everything changed. So all that thing went on. Then they came out with an RFI again in 2007. And then 2009, they decided it should be a make program because the acquisition procedures being revised. And finally, we submitted, they short selected 2 DH, development agencies. One was Bharat Electronics. The other was a special purpose company headed by L&T along with Tata and HCL. And of course, when that company was formed, I was a founder board member of that as well. We submitted everything. The costs were too high. They told us to resubmit the cost. We resubmitted the cost. Then they revised the scope, everything. So, by the way, that program is still on the table. So, hopefully, that will go through in some form or the other. And but I'm just giving you a sense of the time it takes. You need to be invested for long. These are the 2 major programs that come to my mind. There are lots actually. There was BMS. It was the $8 billion battlefield management system, the $8 billion program. And it was retracted after down selection and a lot of investments done by the companies. It was retracted. Yeah, Manish. So examples are many.
So what you have told us, from that I gather that the gestation period is too long. Will it be right for us to assume that since the gestation period of all these projects are generally very, very long, it also translates into a kind of job safety, job security. I mean, a person who gets invested into, who gets into a project, gets associated with the project for too long, and the project is, still being considered. So the all the knowledge and his expertise which he had invested in that project as a team or team lead would still be valued, and hence his job is kind of secure. If he, of course, he will have to continuously do whatever is required of him.
Yeah. So the answer to your question is yes and no. Yes, because if you join a company, a big company, there are big players, Mahindra, Tata, L&T, HCL. There are five tier one companies. Your job is secure. They don't sack you overnight. They know defense business and they are used to it. Okay, so don't worry about that point. As long as you don't create a problem for yourself, okay, you're good. I mean, the only reason they'll throw you out is if you go and slap your boss. So that I'm sure none of you are going to do. Then, but if you do join smaller companies, tier 2, tier 3 companies who are not financially very strong, you need to tell them upfront about defense business. Okay, that look, this is the problem, so it is going to take time. So if you set that equation right, I think you won't have a problem. So job security is there, especially if you join some of the bigger companies. There are some startups also who a lot of people have come into defense startups now who are aware that these delays could be there. While the government is trying to speed up the process, if the process does get speeded up, your jobs are secure. You don't have to worry too much. I'll tell you what, once you join an organization and they see your worth, um, they will not let you go in a hurry. I can tell you.
Right, right. Sir, I would also like to, ask you questions regarding, smooth and successful transition. What are the ingredients of a successful transition, basically, for benefit of our audience? Majority of them are planning to make a transition now. They're either attending DGR courses, or they are in their last 1 year of their service, whether they are short service or permanent commission officers. So, what is that advice that you would give to veterans regarding, or would be veterans regarding networking, building a professional brand, or and effectively communicating their value proposition to the potential employers?
Okay.
Here only, I would add also, how does one ensure continuous growth? How can the veterans stay updated with the technologies and trends, etc., so that they are relevant to the industry and they have better job opportunities outside?
Yeah, exactly. So I was going to actually split your question into two. So you actually asked the second part. So the first part is, what are the challenges that you are likely to face? The first thing is, all of us will go through that sense of insecurity when you put in your papers, when you leave a cushy government job and you're actually, going out there. It is there, it comes, it stays for some time and it goes. Never mind. So if don't worry if somebody saying you're getting unnecessarily funked about leaving a thing, nothing like that. It's very, very natural. You will get over it. Second, if you're leaving after 20 years with pension, then you have actually really nothing to worry. If there's another income in your house, either your wife is working or something like that, or there is income from property or ancestral or something like that, then actually, so money will not be a problem, especially for those who retire after 20 years. What will be a problem for them if you leave too late would be, an age concern. Closer you get to 50, then it gets a little more difficult to accommodate. By the way, for all of you, I left at 46 and a half after 26 years in the armed forces. Now, for the SS officers, 5 years, 10 years, and all that, well, they may not get a pension, but they have a huge age advantage. Therefore, I have seen, even in my own organizations, the SS officers who join actually do their growth is very good, because then they have that age, and they also don't come with a baggage of higher rank and things like that. So that is the first thing. Sense of insecurity will be there. Insecurity will be there. Just don't worry about it. Second thing, a challenge you'll face is acceptance in the corporate. Remember, whatever your skills, whatever your rank, at the end of the day, you're a rookie. You understand, a rookie? That means you on debut, okay, in a test match. Okay, it's you have to get used to. You're starting new in that organization, And so you should quietly learn the ropes, what is the ecosystem, and then slowly, become part of that system. And when you say, when you pre-organization, you'll find two or three very good guys. They'll help you settle down. They'll tell you how to send a travel claim, how to claim your mobile bills and all those issues. Okay. So, and there are some guys who will actually make it pretty difficult for you. You will know the difference. So you will meet all sorts of guys and get over that. The second point, and I think everybody in this, even in this audience, has this query: what should be my compensation? CTC, cost to company, right? Look, that's your call. That's seriously your call. So it's very difficult to give a template that you should be at 20 lakh, 24 lakh, 34 lakh, 36 lakh. However, a good yardstick is whatever your last paid run, okay, with all your perks, etc. Add that up in a small Excel sheet, and you'll actually then get a figure. Go with that. I'll tell you why. Don't worry about, you see, as long as you're getting that, if you get a good markup on that, 10%, 20%, fair enough. Okay. Go and join the company. Your growth, unlike in the armed forces or any government where every year you get some standard increment, it's not like this at all. You can actually double or triple your income in 5 years. I'm telling you that. You get one order for the company. I give my own example. When I got the 927 crore order, honestly, it actually propelled me into a different orbit. That was one point. Compensation, you take a call. Don't worry about compensation. Ensure that you get that job. Ensure that there is a dignity of the job, and get into that door. Put your feet in that door, and then you will grow. Okay, so don't worry about that. Give you an example. When I left, we were on fifth pay commission. I was getting some 10, 12,000 or 15,000 in my bank. So at that point of time, 1 lakh per month sounded very good, and we took it. That was in 16 years back. Since then, of course, things have really, really changed. So don't worry about that at all. Okay, money will not be a problem. I'm saying that again and again. Before leaving, of course, you need to evaluate your liabilities. In terms of your children's education. If you don't have you must have a house of your own. If you don't, you must cater for it. So these are things I'm sure everybody would do. Okay? Third thing, of course, is we've discussed this mindset, cultural shock, whatever it is. You'll get over it. It's not difficult. Get used to the fact of your boss may be 10 years junior to you. Okay, you don't have to serve him, but get used to the fact that you will have to listen to him. They don't treat you. They don't mistreat you. They don't ill-treat you or anything. They're very good to you. But you do find that odd boss. You find them in the army also. Manish knows we had a very difficult boss in Ranchi. You get over it. So doesn't matter. Upskilling I've already covered. Yes, you will have to take accountability. Today in the army, what is your accountability? Then ensuring that your training and equipment is in order. You don't have a target, right? You don't have to get a revenue of say 10 crores or 5 crores. You don't have that. In business and in corporate is all about business is all about profits, margins, etc. So you will have to get that. So anybody, when you deal with the customers, I see कहते sir आप बहुत margin डाल रहे हो इसमें. So I said, yeah, at the end of the day, we have people who are employed and we are competing. It's a commercial competition. You have to become L1. So there's no question of adding margin, but at the end, numbers are important. So those, especially the BD you asked, you should have the confidence of taking up a target and meeting those targets. It is not very difficult, by the way. Okay. The other point, of course, the last point I would say that I have many, but I guess important ones. Please show the patience. I'm telling you, people who join within 1 year, they get frustrated. Okay. About compensation, I also want to tell you, you will realize that a guy who's reporting to you may probably be drawing more than you. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Actually, these are confidential things, but still they get leads. Some people say. So, and as far as patience, please show the patience. You need 2 to 4 years in an organization for them to recognize you and for you to start growing. I was also frustrated. 1 year, 2 years, I was not getting it. Appraisal, every year you have an appraisal, what you call ACR in the army. Unlike the ACR where you get a bad ACR once and you're fixed for life, in the corporate, you can get a C this year and A plus the next year. Okay. So you just stay patient, growth will come. So pretty much this is, so you need to be cost conscious. You need targets and all that. These are the challenges. What are the so how do you overcome these? What are the skills? That was the second part, right, Manish?
Right, sir.
I would say first thing is get your MS Office packages right, especially MS Excel. I have seen army officers who work on it. They know the Excel like the back of their hand. Okay, you will be welcome. Any organization, whether it is BT, whether it is supply chain management, finance. I mean, you would have actually won half the battle if you can make a good, impressive PowerPoint. It will help. Okay, each time when you make a business case, you get those and convey it, it helps. And Excel, I'll say again and again at the cost of reputation, I was not very good. I learned my Excel after my retirement, I'll be honest with you, right? Read about companies. You must know basic things like what is the balance sheet, what is the, there are three major documents: balance sheet, P&L statement, cash flow, right? And all of these have their own peculiarities. All of them um, are handled differently by different companies, and some of the unethical companies fudge these documents. You should know how to read a document, and later on you'll also realize, to ask the questions to find out whether they are fudged or not, right? For those who are getting into the technical line, and technical line, of course, is good, okay, up to a point. After that, the growth is only in business development, finance, and these areas, right? But technical domain expertise. Let's give you an example. L&T got an order for 100 K9 Vajras. K9 Vajra are the self-propelled artillery, tracked artillery. Right? We delivered before time. Can you imagine? We don't have any armored corps officers there. They're all EME officers or whoever, I mean, the main guy. Because they know the technology, tank technology, everything. Okay, so they understand that. I'm not saying that the armored corps officers can't do it. They can. But you need that deep kind of technical knowledge, not the superficial, knowledge. Next, of course, is written and communication skills. I've already said project management. I told you there's a difference between project management in the army and corporate. Where there is, the main thing is you need to go for do a PMP course. Okay, learn what is MS projects, MSPP it's called. Learn how a Gantt chart is made. Okay, because then they will ask you when you present your project, they will ask you what are the critical paths. So there is a critical path which is called lot of dependencies, etc. So if you can mix your practical knowledge with this theoretical knowledge, you will be a winner as far as project management is concerned. And that army style of giving a danda and getting the work done will work in corporate. Believe me, it works in corporate also. Except, yeah, you have to temper your maybe language a little bit. But I know people as director R&D of Bell, VP of Ericsson, one ex-army. Their staple approach was the MCBC approach, but they got the work done and they grew, right? But I'm not saying do that. I'm saying you can give that danda and still get that work done. That comes naturally to the Fauji's. And counting, I've already said, if you're joining the defense industry, please read the DAP 2020, the Defense Acquisition Procedure 2020. It is in public domain. It's a 600-page document. Doesn't matter. Understand it. If you go for an interview, you must know the DAP. What are the categorizations of procurement? What is the procurement procedure? Who are the key appointments in the defense procurement chain? What are offsets? Everything is given there. It is beautifully explained. Whether it is implemented or not is a question mark, but it is very well explained. So you must know the DAP if you're getting into the defense business. Lastly, don't worry too much about where you get a job. People have this hang up, Delhi mein kaam chahiye, Chandigarh mein chahiye, or Hyderabad mein chahiye. It doesn't matter. Go and join somewhere. And later on, I'm telling you, once you show your worth, now you will get your wherever you want. I have seen it happen. It happens all over the place. So broadly, these are the skills you need to learn. Read a lot. Read the Economic Times. Read the Business Standard. You will get you will automatically the certain things will come to you. Yeah, Manish. So that's.
Thank you so much, sir.
Gotta focus on yourself, on your faith, on your dreams, on your mind, on your health, yeah. You gotta work, never tell, keep your head